Hi, I'm Leanne from BatLadyHerbals, and welcome to my video. So today we are in a community park in Maitland, Florida, which is just outside of Orlando. So excuse the basketball teams in the background as they're having a wonderful time out there. But today I wanted to introduce you to one of our native grape species that poses a very interesting problem and conundrum for anyone who's trying to identify grapes. Now, this plant right here is Florida's Muscadine. The reason it presents a bit of a conundrum when you're trying to identify it is years ago, when people were first settling in Florida, they were trying to grow grapes to make wine. Because while the Muscadine does have edible grapes and you can make a wine out of it, it's got really thick skin and it tends to be a bit on the tannic side. It's a very peculiar flavor. If you haven't tried it yet, I recommend you try it, but it is for a special palate. So people were trying to grow more of the normal European variety of grapes for making wine. And some of the cultivars escaped captivation and intermixed with the Muscadine. Since they intermixed, there are several offshoot species that are Muscadines, but they're Muscadines mixed with all these other different varieties. So it does make identification in the modern world a little bit more difficult. But the main things to remember are that the Muscadine has smooth bark, the leaves, which have serrated edges, serrated margins, are hairless and not hairy. And then one of the main identifying factors are the tendrils. If you look closely at these tendrils, you'll see that they are simple tendrils and they're not forked. Now with the simple tendrils, the hairless leaves, and the smooth bark, that narrows the species down to a handful of species here in Florida. If you are north and west of the Swanee River in Florida, there's a good chance you've encountered Vitis rotundifolia. However, we're around Orlando, which is south. So if you're south of the Swanee and you have all these characteristics, you've likely encountered Vitis munsoniana, which I'm probably butchering the Latin on. If I am, and you'd like to correct me, please feel free to do so in the comments below. Some people might argue that munsoniana is a variety of rotundifolia. So some would argue that it's actually the same plant, just a different variety of it. Now, one of the fun things about grape is just watching the different growing habits at the different stages of its life. Because if you notice, the older sections of the vine are all drooping and hanging down. And the younger sections are supple and light and reaching out for a new place to hang. Now, unfortunately, this species is not currently in fruit or bloom, so I can't share with you any images of that. However, I can share with you some of the benefits of the grape leaves. Now, most of us are aware that you can make wine out of grapes, and red wine has many health benefits, and then the grapes themselves also have quite a few health benefits. And Muscadine grapes specifically have been studied for a number of health benefits in recent years and have found quite a few benefits of their own. But the leaves are a traditional food in many Mediterranean cultures, and people tend to forget about that. So anyone who has had Greek food or certain Arabic foods might be familiar with dolmas, which are stuffed grape leaves. Usually they're made with a species of grape that has much bigger leaves that are a lot easier to roll, and you end up with a decent sized little rolled up grape leaf. You can still make them with these, although you can end up with little miniature ones. However, the leaves are astringent, which means that they're going to have some amazing medicinal benefits. Astringent herbs tend to be great for wound healing. So this is an herb that I would go to if I had an accident and cut myself if I was on a hike or something like that where I have an open wound, because astringent herbs help to close that wound up and eventually will help stop the bleeding a little bit faster than leaving it to its own devices. It's also going to be beneficial to help kind of cleanse the wound a little bit and prevent infections. Astringent leaves like this are also really good for certain GI issues, gastrointestinal issues, such as diarrhea. Now, along with all the astringent properties of the leaf also shares some properties with the fruit. Now, one of the things it's known for is for helping to improve certain cardiovascular issues, as well as prevent certain types of cancers. It's also an amazing herb to help promote the immune system and help to boost immune function. Now, this being an anti-inflammatory herb, that means that it's going to be a great herb to use to reduce inflammation when you have painful joints, such as in arthritis. But it also helps to reduce inflammation in your cardiovascular system to help improve circulation, as well as your endocrine system and pretty much your entire body. So this is a great herb for inflammation. Muscadine leaves are also a great way to help improve eye health, and they're also protective of nervous system functions. Now, in addition to those properties, it's also very nutritious. Just like many other leafy greens, it is absolutely loaded to the brim with vitamins and minerals. Now, some of the vitamins that it is most easy to find in grape leaves, especially in muscadine leaves, are vitamins A and K. And K is especially important as we are experiencing almost a nationwide, close to epidemic of vitamin D deficiencies. And vitamin K is actually really important for us to be able to synthesize and use vitamin D in our systems. In addition to vitamin A and K, it also has minerals such as iron and calcium and magnesium. And it has a lot of vitamin C, which is probably why it's so good at boosting the immune system. It's also a great source of copper, which is very helpful for endocrine system function. Now, in addition to the modern uses, this plant has also been used for centuries by Native Americans. And not only did they eat it, both the fruit and the leaves, they also used it medicinally in a lot of the same ways I just mentioned, and they used it ceremonially. So this is a very important plant for the Native American peoples that lived in Florida. So thank you for joining me today. Once again, I'm Leanne from BatLadyHerbals. If you like this video and like what I'm doing, please feel free to subscribe and click that notification bell if you want to be notified of my future videos. Now, I also have a blog where you can find lots of information about this plant and other plants. I will link that down below in the description. Now, if you are curious about what nature might have provided for you in your backyard, I do something called backyard tours, where I will go over to your house and walk around your yard with you and help identify things that might be useful either as food or as medicine. So if you're interested in that, the information to contact me will be down below, and that's called Backyard Tours. Now, I also have a Teespring Shop where you can find all kinds of designs for t-shirts and other things that promote hiking and herbalism here in Central Florida. So thank you again, and have a wonderful day.